Hello Quilty peeps, I'm Shelly. Welcome to my channel. Today in this video, I wanted to share with you the quilty goodness I've been working on. I had an opportunity to take a maps class with Tim Natar. If you have an opportunity to take a class with her, I highly recommend her. She's great. So I made this map quilt. And the whole time I'm making it, I'm thinking, I'll probably want to fill in this big background I have with some kind of typography quilting. But when the time came for me to free motion this on my domestic machine, it's not what the quilt was talking to me, or it's not what the quilt was wanting from me. I thought about it, and I've used a lot of florals in the different regions, and I have a big floral motif in my quilty toolbox. And this is a big area, so I could do, I could put one of these big florals in each corner, do some smaller flowers here and there without the leaves, and then fill this whole thing in with pebbles, swirls, and leaves, and it'll look great. And guess what? This quilt's singing freaking opera. Anyway, I want to demonstrate this motif to you so that you can put it in your quilts. It's fabulous. Now, it's really not for beginners, but I'm going to tell you, if you're a beginner and you want to try this, go for it. Because there's only one way to get good at free motion machine quilting, and that's to quilt your quilts. So I hope you get some value out of this video, and I surely, to goodness, hope you use this in your quilts too. Okay, so before I demonstrate this, I wanted to talk to you about a few things. So what I did is I put that big motif here, and I put it here. You can see it's slightly different than this one. I put it here. I've got the leaves in a little different place, and I put it up here in the corner. And then I added a smaller one here without the leaves, smaller one again here without the leaves, one here, and then one down here. And then once those were done, then I just had to come in with a filler and smush that background down, and it just looks great. I'm just so pleased with it. I did use 2 layers of batting because this is a small quilt and I'm doing this on my domestic machine. It is doable. I do not recommend doing 2 layers of batting on something big because it's heavy and you have to manage your bulk. But this was a perfect project for it. If you're looking at it, I still need to come in and do some other work here in each of the regions, but the background is done and it's pretty. Okay, so the very first thing that I did is I drew myself out. I drew this out just so I could decide how I wanted to do it. Plus, I wanted to be able to look at it while I did at least the first 1 or 2 so that I had a map to get myself to know where I was going. So let me draw this and show you how I did it. Okay. So this motif starts out with a little swirl. So just come and swirl yourself in and then swirl yourself out. And we're going to close the circle. Next, we're just going to arc ourselves around this circle. Like that. Still easy, right? Okay. Now the petals on this flower, I like to think of as like an end of a dog bone. I don't know why, that's just how I think of it in my head. And this is how you do it. I'm going to start right here. So you're going to swing in and swing out, come, do a dip down, come out, back in and down. First petal. Then I'm just going to come over here and do the same thing. Swirl in, swirl out, come back here. They do not have to be perfect. In fact, you don't want them perfect. They look better when they're not. Swirl in, out. Okay. The next thing we want to do is go out here, and we're going to echo all of these. When that echo is done, I'm going to come back in here and we're going to do a little traveling because we need to put some kind of accent into this petal. So we'll just do a little traveling back down and we'll go up like that. Travel over here and we're just going to come up and go like that. Travel around these humps. Now, if you're thinking, yes, my drawing is not great, no, it's not. I'm not a great doodler, but you know what? When it comes to machine quilting, my motifs under the needle look a lot better than when I'm drawing. So just remember that. Plus, after you machine quilt something and you put it in the washing machine, that's where the magic happens. Okay, so we've got that done. Now I am actually going to break thread here. And I'm going to come out here and decide. And I actually drew myself guidelines when I did this on my quilt, on the first couple that I did, but just on your leaf. And then I came out here and I echoed it, and I came in here. Oops. And actually, I drew myself a spine, so I knew what I was doing. Okay. And then I'm drawing this weird. Okay. Okay. Now break thread. Now I'm going to do another leaf over here. I'm going to go around it. Because I'm drawing this, so. And when I did this, I made myself a spine so I could see a guideline so I could see what I was doing. And then I just did this little S shape up. And I did this little S shape back down. And there you have a flower. I'm going to do one more leaf and then we'll have a flower. When I quilted my quilt, I did use thread that was go with. It didn't match exactly, but for the purpose of this video, I am using this purple thread so you can see it. If I were making this on something, I would make the thread match closer to the value. If it's not the same color, I wouldn't make it necessarily matchy-matchy, but it would be like a go with. Okay, let's start our swirl. I'm going to move that out of the way. Okay, I've swirled in. Now I'm just going to swirl back out. Let's go ahead and cut this so I have it out of the way. Okay, now I've closed that circle off, you can see. Now I'm going to go these little arcs all the way around it. Okay. Now it's time for us to start our petals. Normally I sew these away from me, but because for the video and I want you to be able to see it, I'm going to sew these towards me. But generally I do this. I do sew these away. Well, let's see if we can see it in the video if I do it that way. In, out, do a little dog biscuit shape and come back down. Okay. Turn in, out. Dog biscuit chafing down. Yeah, that was a little close. Okay. Again, I don't care if these all look exactly the same. Actually, they look better when they don't, which you'll see what I mean when we're done. Okay. Watch my hand position here. Okay. That was kind of wonky, but that's okay. It's going to look great, I promise you. Now we're going to travel around on these arcs and put the little detail into the petal. Just go in there and just do a little swirl thing, okay? Okay, I've got my leaf detail. Now we're going to come over here, travel back over here, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to echo everything. Okay, we've got it echoed. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I am going to break thread here. And I'm going to, on my leaf, I'm going to draw myself some guidelines just so I know where I'm going. So this one, I'm just going to go here. There. I'll put this other one over here. Oops. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do the leaf shape and then I'm going to echo it. Again, I'm just going to give myself a guideline in this leaf so I know where I'm going when I put the veins in. Okay. I'm just going to do a little S shape to go up one side of this vein and down the other. Okay, I've gone up one side, now let's come back down the other. All right. One leaf down, two to go. As you can see, that guideline is really helpful to see where you're going to go. Particularly since we're covering a big area here. Let's come over and echo this. Okay, before I travel over, draw that vein in. There you go. Okay. Okay, one more leaf to go. Just in time, my disappearing ink is starting to disappear. It must be old. So, One more vein. I just threw that in there, yes, you can see. Okay, so you see in my traveling, it's not perfect. If this thread matched this fabric, you would never, ever see this. And plus, this motif is big. There's a lot going on. You'll never see that. It is more obvious because I'm using this contrasting thread for the video, but trust me, you will never see it. Okay, almost done. Now I'm going to, actually, I can travel over here or I can cut off. You can do either one. Sometimes I cut off, sometimes I travel. It's one of those, you know it in the moment kind of things. This time I am going to cut off here. And now I'm going to echo around this whole thing one more time. Okay, we're almost right where we started. Okay, there you go. And that, my friends, is how you do this big, I'm going to call it a big ass, floral motif, that is a technical term, in a big space when you're machine quilting. I hope you use this. This thing looks beautiful. It gives you movement and it's interesting. And it's really not difficult. And as always, there's one way to get good at machine quilting, and that's to machine quilt your quilt. So happy quilting out there.